Hi, my name is Tequila Mockingbird, and you are watching Tequila TV. This episode of TTV continues our exploration of art in Chinatown. For part 2 of Art in Chinatown, we visit Mat Gleason at his gallery called Coagula Curatorial. Please enjoy Tequila TV. All right, we are at Coagula Gallery with my dear friend Matt. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Fine. You have new shoes.
Yeah, I got old, and they said I was limping around. They said you gotta wear Nikes.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't know that. My whole life I would wear a pair of Doc Martens till the hole went through the sole. It takes 2.5 years if you wear them every day, and you get a hole through the sole. And that's how I always wear my shoes. And now I'm over 50, and I went in limping with a tear in my meniscus, and they're like, "Why? You just got to get softer shoes." I was like, "Oh." So,
So what's so special about your shoes?
In direct sunlight, they change color. But I didn't know that when I bought them, and then I'm out in the sun. I was like, "What the fuck happened to my shoes?" That's crazy. So, you gotta love it.
What did they turn to?
Well, the green fades a little, and then the Nike logo shows up in a darker green. It's totally weird.
Wow, that is so cool.
I didn't know, because I go to the outlet. So they're like whatever, $200 pair of shoes you get for 29 bucks. You gotta shop at the outlet. So
what is the meaning of life to you, Matt?
Meaning of life?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There.
Well, you seem to love art, so.
Oh well, I got art damaged along the way, and so yeah, I think art to me is the one thing that when you're making art, or in my case, like when I'm curating an art show, or I'm a writer when I write, but I think the thing is you're in control. It's your universe. You get to make the universe. There's not somebody else saying, "This is the universe." What in the fuck? It's like the one time there's a goddamn kid in my gallery. I'm getting interviewed on camera. What the fuck? Yeah, just say we're filming back here, man. Yeah. Oh my god.
Do you have any children?
No.
So they're still all swimming around.
They're in the ends of the tips of condoms. I'm an uncle to 17.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from a family of 7. My parents had 7 kids. I'm one of 7. And they all a lot of breeding going on there.
So are you from a Catholic family or
very Catholic? Very Catholic.
That's us. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, like you could name a saint, and I used to be able to tell you what they were the patron saint of.
Dimphna.
Huh?
Dimphna.
Dimphna. Wow. Is that an Egyptian saint?
No, she's a patron saint of mental illness.
Oh really?
Yes.
Dimphna. That's a new one on me.
There you go. Ha ha, the Catholic boy.
Saint Nicholas.
We were hanging out with him the other day.
Which is Santa Claus is based on Saint Nicholas.
Yeah, we did the Krampus Festival.
Patron saint of pawnbrokers.
Oh, I need to talk to him.
So anyway.
So where did your art career start? What touched you? What was the first thing you remember?
I'm a failed painter. So, I mean, I wanted to be, I went to museums, in my late teens, early 20s, and it was like, wow, I want to be a painter. So I went out and bought a bunch of paint and took a couple art classes, and I just couldn't, I did not have the discipline whatsoever. And then I was happier with my writing. So, what I did was I wrote about art, and I got noticed for writing about art. So I would call it a zine. Everyone in the art world thought, wow, this is amazing. But it was like basically a zine.
The magazine Coagula.
Called Coagula, yeah.
Which was fantastic.
But art world didn't, I was like, dude, it's a punk zine for the art world. It's very simple concept. But the art world, oh my God. The art world's totally out of touch with stuff. So you can bring in your own thing to the art world. And I'm like, oh my God. And then the people from that subculture will just be like, yeah, big fucking deal. And I would always say, like, anybody who had any remote connection to the punk scene, like, people in the art would be like, oh, here's Matt, he does this magazine. And I'd be like, it's just a punk zine. It's like Flipside, but for the art world. It's not even. It's not even as good as Flipside. You know, so stuff like that.
So, what inspires you the most? Are you into painting, surrealism, or do you like photography?
You know, it's what's funny is if I'm into something and then all of a sudden like I can just see the counter argument and I'm into the opposite. You know what I mean? Like I really go. So I mean I know a lot about painting. I mean I've had many painting shows. I think photography's in a crisis because everybody's a photographer. Like, how could you compete with Instagram? So I'm definitely more about painting, drawing, you know. But abstract, figurative, I don't care. You know, if it's good, it's good. You know.
Where are you from?
I was born in Fullerton, at St. Jude's.
Were you friends with Ray Zone?
I know Ray Zone, yeah.
That was my old boyfriend.
No way.
Ray Zone before Gail Zone got
hold of him. Wow.
One day he said to me, "You have something with this girl Gail," and I said, "Well, like what?" And he goes, "Like me," and I went, "No, I don't." And he said, "Why are you saying that?" And I said, "Because I'm not seeing you anymore."
So you're not Tequila Zone?
No.
But now the late great Ray Zone now has a restaurant named after him.
Yes,
Howlin' Ray's.
Howlin' Ray's.
Here in Chinatown.
Delicious.
Oh yeah, it's very good, very good.
Very good chicken.
The gallery next door to mine, Joseph Gross Gallery, had a show curated by an NBA player, Amari Stoudemire.
I saw that show.
Okay, and Amari, he was on he had Howlin' Ray's VIP number, and he would get bags of chicken delivered every day from Howlin' Ray's. And I would, they would be like, there would always be leftover, and they'd be like, "Hey, have some," and it would burn your lips. And chili, it just burns your lips.
It burns on the way in
and out.
On the way out. Yes.
Number two, coming through.
I met him, and I'm like, you know, you were almost my child.
So yeah, Ray Zone was a really nice guy.
He was a great guy. I thought he was from Fullerton for some reason.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't know. He was like, you know, 15 years older than me, maybe 10 years older than me.
Oh, so you're a sweet young thing. You know who you look like? You look like Mark Mothersbaugh.
Mark Mothersbaugh's studio is right across the street here.
He's a good friend of mine.
He's a really nice guy. I saw him. They had an opening here for the LA County High School for the Arts, where his daughter, one of his daughters, goes to LACSA, and so we rented out our space, and he had his space, and we had a student show.
Nice.
Up for a week. Yeah, it was very cool. Yeah. What the fuck? Oh my god. It's like the one time. The one kid. Jeez. Okay, anyway.
So, what are you showing at this moment at the gallery?
Oh, right now we have a show called Real Abstraction, and it's 3 women. I mean, the fact that they're women is inconsequential, but it's a nice coincidence. But it's 3 good artists, 3 abstract painters. And there's 4 artworks by each of them in the main room, so it's kind of like a 3 times 4. But we like the next show will be figurative. The next show is going to be a figurative show.
What is the most important question that people forget to ask you about your gallery?
Wow, what is the most important question that people forget to ask me about my gallery? I think people forget to ask about, like, how at the end of the day, how does it all glue together? How does it all work? Because people, and I was guilty of this for many years. It was the art going public. I would walk into the gallery, and I would, not really understand the machine behind it. I didn't understand the machine. There's a lot going on that nobody ever sees. And you got to pay the bills somehow. So how does one pay the bills if you aren't persistently, working to sell product? So most people really don't understand the machine behind it. People don't understand the engine that really runs things. They just see, oh, you must just put art on the walls and people come by and buy it. Or like Yelp will call and say, well, we want to get you, we want you to pay us to promote your gallery. It's like nobody who goes to Yelp is saying, I need to buy an abstract painting today, honey. Where can we find this on Yelp? I mean, it just so nobody really asks about, there's a machine behind the whole thing, about, You know, there's a whole art world culture of just, you have to pierce. You know, you have to go deep. It's not like music and movies, they appeal to a broad audience. You get them out there and the audience finds it. It's the opposite of that. Art, everyone thinks they can do it. There's no, I mean, the work is in really like why this specific artwork? Why this artwork and not 1,000 other artworks?
I was a curator at the Zero for 100 years, so I know what it's like.
Yep, yep.
How did you pick the name of your gallery?
Well, I did the magazine Coagula for many years. So the name Coagula, when I started Coagula in 1992, I wanted a name for the magazine that would be, we were LA and New York. And back then it was LA versus New York, and especially in the art world, LA versus New York. Oh, LA's cool, New York's too established. Oh, New York doesn't even know LA exists. LA versus New York. But we covered the LA scene and the New York scene. We're the first ones to ever do anything like that. And so to me, it was the idea of LA and New York together as one thing. Like this coming together. So the word coagulate, you know, blood clot, you know. So then I thought, oh, Coagula, that sounds really decadent. So I just carried that over from the magazine.
Why are you located in Chinatown?
Cheap rent. That's the only reason. I mean, if there was cheap rent in Beverly Hills, I'd be in Beverly Hills. I don't have a fucking problem saying that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a cool, funky space. We made we made what we made out of it. I got a checkerboard floor. Some artists think that interferes with the art. I don't think it interferes with the art at all. I think it complements it. But this was a grocery store at one time. This was Ling's Market, you know, and so that's basically if the rent was cheaper somewhere else, and there's basically you can park here once, you can see 5 great galleries, and then go have some, you know, mediocre Chinese food. Yeah. So I asked my landlord. I said, "Hey, you've been here since 1947. Tell me what's the best restaurant." He said, "Oh yeah, it's that way, 8 miles east in Monterey Park." so there you go.
So that is funny. So who's your favorite artist on the local scene right now?
Oh geez, you know, the problem with mentioning one is then you have to mention them all. You know what I mean? Like
they're like your children.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I mean, yeah, and then like I represent artists, but there's artists that I don't represent that I like. But if I give time to one, do it. You know what I mean? Like in a lot of ways, when you're interviewing a gallery owner, it's almost like the equivalent in music would be the person who owns a record label. You know what I mean? Like it's almost the equivalency thing. Mm-hmm. You know, or somebody who books bands. You know, do they book every band? No, because they only book a few bands. Or a manager. You know, somebody who manages 3 bands. You know, like the guy who managed the Ramones. You know, there was no way he was going to mention Black Flag. You know what I mean? Right. So, am I making too many punk rock analogies?
No, because I'm a punk rocker.
I know
he's a punk rocker.
Okay.
She used to manage the Mau Mau's.
You managed the Mau Mau's?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a tough band.
Wow.
He's still friends with.
Oh, jeez. I swear. Well, they were the one band where you could see more. You could see more visible veins. You know, on the, you know.
Oh, you should see them now.
Oh no, really? Oh jeez. Do they still play it all ever?
No,
not really.
I saw the Mount House at the Roxy of all places. I think I saw it. Were they at the Roxy? God, it's so long ago. Doesn't it all blur to you? Like
it's all like yesterday.
Whiskey. I mean, it's like
Flippers.
Yeah. Oh God. Dancing Waters. I mean, huh?
I got out in around 1980, though. I've been with them on and off, but I was in the beginning.
Wow.
Mostly.
And then he also had Youth Party magazine, which is
yeah, I had a fanzine.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then we had a gallery called Moda for the last 3 years? 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Where was Moda?
It was in Hollywood, sort of.
WeHo.
Right near La Brea and Sunset.
Oh wow.
It was kind of like a space, creative space, and then we'd show pop-up things. We do like a weekend of art.
You know what? I was on the pop-up train.
Yeah.
We had the space next door to us. I had the lease on, and we were doing pop-ups, artist pop-ups. You know, $500, $1,000, $2,000. You can have a 2-week show, 1-week show, 1-night show, and artists would produce their things, and it just is so much fucking work. Because here's the thing. The priority as a gallery owner is I have to be respectful of the artist. That's the #1 thing. And that there's no artist who's worked with me who's going to say, oh, he was disrespectful. The experience here when I work with an artist is 100%. It's all about you. I'm of service to the artist. Okay, so when an artist shows with me, I said, what do you want to do? I mean, sometimes, oh, this piece should be $100,000. Come on, come off the ledge. You got that, bring that ego down. Let's deflate that ego and it'll look good. It'll look good a little smaller here. So, I mean, I try to work with them and try to get things, but the priority, absolute priority in running a gallery, you have to like the artist, you have to respect the artist, you have to give the artist what they want. They have to have a great experience with you. That's number one priority. I don't think enough galleries really understand that, and I don't know that they all do it, but I do.
Right.
Have you ever had really difficult artists that you had to like? Oh
yeah. There's artists I don't work with anymore. Yeah, because they you know, have their head up their ass, and or like I had one guy was selling out of his studio 3 weeks before the show. On Facebook he says, here, this is for sale. I need to make money for my show. And I emailed him, I said, whoa, what's this make money for your show? I'm not charging you for the gallery. You're not making money. You're having a show and I'm going to sell your art. You can't do this. You know, you can't do this. If you want, you go ahead and do it, but you can't work with me. You know, that's basically, you know, that's do whatever you want. But if you're working with me, I mean, this is, you know, there's a window of exclusive commerciality. You know?
And what is that window?
Well, you have a show. You would start like when you start promoting the show. That's it. There's no don't be doing anything else.
Right.
And then it usually goes till 6 months after the show.
Right.
Sometimes it's like get your stuff out of here. But you know, if like a difficult artist, it's like we're done. Take it all. You know. And then some people, you know, artists. Oh, they're so brilliant. They're gonna have a show with me, and then they're gonna say, hey, this $2,000 painting, don't worry, after the show I'll give it to you for $1,000. Okay?
Dealt with a lot of that.
So that's where storage spaces come in really handy. Because then you hold on to the work. Possession. And nobody's gonna, that person who's gonna, oh, I'm gonna buy your piece for half price, cool, we'll ace the dealer out of it. They're not interested in buying that piece 6 months later. So, you know. Which child are you in line of the 7 children? I'm 6 of 7.
So you're almost the baby.
I'm almost the baby, yeah.
Do you feel like the baby?
No. It was weird. We had like, it was almost like, what we had was, there was like these 5 baby boomers and then these 2 Gen Xers, you know? Like, boom, you know? That's like the family. It's kind of this weird tilt. Yeah. But my mom always said she was glad she had 2 boys at the end because 2 girls would have killed her. That girls are much more difficult than boys.
Right.
Yeah, that was her parenting. There's your parenting lesson for the day.
Well, it's been wonderful talking to you. Woohoo! Let's go into the main gallery and you can talk about the art.
Great.
All right, we are in Chinatown with Mat Gleason, fabulous owner of Coagula Gallery.
How you doing?
Fine. You want to show us some art, sir?
Well, hey, let's start with the floor. These tiles were laid by Jimmy Joe, my late landlord, in 1962. This was Lane's Market for many years. I've been here since 2013. We still run it as a market in the back, and we have some well-decorated market.
I just want you to know that I am a queen. I was wearing a tiara yesterday. Yeah. I can move in any direction.
Okay, I'm the horse here, so I can go like this, and then I go like this, and then I go like this. Are you following this? Yeah, we got a show now. This is called Real Abstraction. It's 3 women. There's 4 artworks by each one. I know that people will think abstraction is stuffy, and it's kind of, you know, like, not art like that you would, hey, come on in!
Are you on camera?
Yeah, we're filming.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Welcome. I don't want to be in the middle of a... Just give you a big kiss.
Oh, yeah.
Woohoo! We're
45 minutes.
We're a tight family here in Chinatown. So abstract painting, to me, when you think about it, abstract painting is younger historically than movies. Okay, there were movies before there were abstract painting in Western culture. So I think that there's still a lot of possibilities in abstract painting, and it's a chance for an artist to be totally free of having to render a person. And there's a lot of, I mean, look, I could go tomorrow and look at a really tightly rendered painting and mock abstract painters. I'm not fighting for a particular aesthetic team here. I like a wide variety of art, and I like abstract painting when it's really liberated. And I think I've got 3 really cool artists here doing, to me, very interesting things relative to, I want to say the history of abstraction, but you don't have to know the fucking history of abstraction.
What is the history of abstraction?
Well, the history of abstraction is a bunch of egomaniacs. Egomaniacs saying we're going to destroy what was in order to assert ourselves, called modernism. And then people started saying, yeah, you ain't all that, that's called postmodernism, right? And now we're kind of starting a new era that doesn't even have a name yet. So I believe that there's a...
Let's call it Gleasonism.
No, well, speaking of those morons with the big egos, woo! But I think there's a recapitulation with abstraction now, that it's acknowledging that there's some image, you know, you can't make an invisible painting, and I think for years a lot of artists tried. So we have, over here we have Jennifer Feist, and you'll see the glare. She's got layers and layers and layers of resin above this painted surface. And what you get with the pattern is, throughout the day, this is going to be a different looking painting, depending on if it's sunlight, natural light, where you know, what hits it, where it hangs. It's very cool. It's also got a bit of a connection to like the whole, you know, the plastic century that we're kind of in this plastic century. Over here is Jane Park Wells. These are 2 pieces. She is all about finding this chaotic line, but it ends up being very, very harmonious. There's a lot going on. The more you look at them, the deeper you get. It's a bit of a meditative space. Probably not the best art to look at when you've had a quadruple espresso on ice from Starbucks, but you know, depending on how much medical marijuana you can get out of the system these days. Well, you know, William S. Burroughs was a major proponent of abstract painting. He said it was the best thing when you got stoned. It's marijuana and abstract painting go together just great. And this is Frederica Roeder. She's a surfer. She was a surfer for most of her life, and this is based on sort of still kind of pulling out that natural. How do you make that natural? You can paint a landscape, right? But then it's always about the specific place you're at. But what about when you're in nature, just that eternal nature feeling? And so she's really following in the historical territory mined by Richard Devengore's probably the primary artist. California abstract painter in the late 20th century. But, so the rest of the show is more paintings by each of them. So I've laid it out so that you get, each artist has 1 section to themselves, and then there's a shared section. And it's 3 artists and 4 paintings by the 3 artists. So I'm happy with it. It's called Real Abstraction, because I needed to come up with a name. You can call it abstract painting show. I mean, it is about going beyond the language.
How do you come up with names? Do
you know what?
With the artist, or?
Yes, sometimes, yeah. Like I have to call somebody today. The next show is going to be a figurative show, and I want to run some titles by the 2 artists. So the one artist said, "I don't care, I trust you," and then I'm going to call the other artist, and then come up with something. You work together. It's a collaboration a lot of times. I have to be respectful of the artist. That's my top priority here. You can't fuck around. You can't brush it off.
So you're a punk rocker. Did you actually play music as well? Or?
I never played music. Now, I've wearing my Beatles shirt here. How much more punk rock can you be than to wear a Beatles shirt standing next to Tequila?
That was my favorite era too.
Oh yeah, this is the very last photo session. Yeah. Actually, you know what's funny is I hung out for a couple of weeks with, I was friends with this band Down by Law, and they were recording an album with Epitaph, so I hung out with Brett, Mr. Brett from, Brett Hurwitz.
Yeah.
And he named his son Maxwell Edison. I mean, he's a real Beatles fan, and I just remember, I liked the Beatles when I was younger, and then I was a Mr. Punk Rocker, and we listened to a bunch of other music, and I just remember how much he was into the Beatles, and it really reminded me, you can like anything you like. Bad Religion,
whatever you want.
Yeah, and so then now listen to Bad Religion and think of the Beatles, and you might actually go, there's some of those harmonies and stuff, they really are trying. I mean, there's a historical precedent there.
Yeah, we used to put them on New Wave Theater back in the day.
Yeah, Peter Ivers, rest in peace.
Yeah, I did all the booking for that show.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he was my best friend.
Wow.
I was in his band too at the end.
Yeah.
But
I was the thing I did when I was a punk rocker that was the most inspired by New Wave Theater was called Media Blitz, and it was in La Mirada Cable, and the La Mirada Cable Company had a production studio, and so me and a friend,
Public access.
yeah, public access. So me and a friend from high school, my little brother Joe, and then this guy from a school named Gary Tate. We had the show, and then I went off to college, and so Gary Tate changed his name to Gary Blitz, and he ended up becoming a rave club promoter in Orange County, and we had this, there's a couple tapes out there somewhere. I don't have any tapes, but the big one that I interviewed was Ed Culver,
oh yes,
the photographer, when I was like 15, and then I ended up writing an essay for when he had a retrospective of his art, his photography and his art. I wrote for the big hardcover book, the Ed Culver book.
nice. Yeah, he's great.
Back in the day.
Yes. Well, I want to thank you for
Hey,
One more question before. Where do you see art heading now?
Here's where art is headed. The goal of art and the achievement of art has been and always will be to defeat the predictable. You could not have predicted in 1970 that in 1977 the Sex Pistols would be the most important band to happen. You could not predict in 1977 that in 1984 Madonna would completely change the landscape. Michael Jackson would completely. You couldn't predict this shit. Art, great art defeats the predictable, and that's where it's going. So when you think, I know where it's going and I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon, you're 5 years behind. You're on the caboose. That's the one thing I know about art, and it's consistent. So I never try to, wherever it's going, it's gonna go. So assume the 10 places it'll go number 11. Does that make sense?
Huh?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you
That was
so
the
much
last.
for a wonderful interview.
Woo! Hey,
Mat Gleason.
did you see my sign here?
No, sure.
The kids like it.
How new is that?
Oh God, we put that up in 2013. I opened the gallery in 2012. We put that up in 2013.
So you've been here how long?
April of this year will be 7 years. Woohoo!
Out.